I've never been an individual who particularly enjoys eating. Let me amend that. I've never been an individual who enjoys eating a lot. And I think it's because I've got PTSD or some formation of PTSD from my earlier bulking days when I left school. When I left school, I was like 57 kilograms soaking wet. And to put that into perspective, I'm 75 kilograms now. So very, very skinny. And I decided that this wasn't a good look. So I joined a gym and I started my fitness pilgrimage. I ate every 3 hours a combination of rice and chicken and fish, and I supplemented that with a weight gainer. I don't know if you guys ever drunk a weight gainer. The consistency is like sludge or cement. I mean, it packs a punch. It packs 500 calories and 50 grams of protein to kind of supplement the gains. And I gained weight very, very quickly, and I got strong very, very quickly, and I was probably cognitively at my worst I've ever been at for 1 to 2 years. And it was a good thing I was doing manual labor work and nothing too much up here, because I was a dummy. Here's my desire. My desire has always orientated itself around performance, holistic performance, not just the area of fitness, but cognitive, social, emotional, and spiritual performance. This is an interesting one, spiritual performance. I began to recognize very, very quickly that it was more holistically beneficial in each of the aforementioned areas if I kept my stomach empty rather than full. Now, you're going to want to hear what I have to say in regards to the accelerations in spiritual development, spiritual practices as a consequence of keeping the stomach empty. But first, the conundrum around gaining weight and maintaining weight even. Now, fasting, which is what I'm referring to, does not mean that you are in a calorie deficit. It simply means the window from your next meal, from let's say this is breakfast and this is your next meal, is extended. That is all it refers to. If we accept the premise that gaining weight and losing weight is a simple equation of calories in versus calories spent, then we can still gain weight commensurate with a fasting practice. It would simply mean when we do eat, we eat more, and we eat more calorically dense foods, particularly saturated fat. So what are the consequences? What are the benefits of eating in this particular manner? Well, the first is you don't get fat via your insulin response being jacked up, breakfast, snack, lunch, supper, 4 or 5 times a day. So you're keeping your blood sugar very, very stable. So mentally, you keep that same consistent cognitive output. This might be a unique benefit, at least in my estimation, but I've found when I do finally eat that I'm very particular about what I choose to eat. During an extended eating window, or a fasting window, pardon me, at least in my experience, there's an appreciation for your next meal to have actually, some substance to it, some nutrition to it, not empty carbohydrates. This way you remain more satiated, fuller, less prone to relapsing onto something, sugary. And I tell you what, that meal when you first break your fast tastes amazing. Could be the blandest thing, and it tastes like Michelin star restaurant. I should also give a nod to, the muscle sparing phenomenon as a consequence of growth hormone increasing approximately 200 to 1000% when we do go without food. Recognize your body will not so easily let you just die. That much should be obvious. In fact, it upregulates musculature and cognition to keep you alive. In fact, the irony with these things is that when your stomach is empty, you feel more alive than, comparatively to when it's full. He has a sense of humor in this way. And this makes sense, at least to me. Forgive me, this is going to sound like a trope now, because your existence is predicated on the fact that your ancestors leveraged their ability to go for long periods of time without food as a means for survival. It is not too difficult to discern that you being here watching me on your screen right now is a consequence of their ability to do that. You are a product of fasting. Without fasting, you do not exist. Every mechanism, from your thinking to your feeling to even your even your breathing, which I'll discuss in a moment, comes at a consequence of you being able to go for periods of time without the belly full to the brim. But first, a word on those poor souls who don't experience the cognitive faculties that is desirable, but maybe even perhaps the antithesis of that, brain frog, might be brain frog. I'll extrapolate on that. So what we need to understand is that the difference in fuel sources and metabolism of those fuel sources corresponds to the benefits. We are not using glucose to realize those heightened states of performance and mood, but we in fact using ketones, which is derived from fat. You may have directly or indirectly been privy to the phrase fat adapted, which is a phrase used to describe a metabolic state where your body has become more efficient at using fat as its primary fuel source instead of carbohydrates. Now, this does take some time. Typically, when following a very low carbohydrate, high fat, high protein diet like ketogenic or any kind of carnivore variation, for an extended period of time, anywhere between, I would say, 4 to 12 weeks, at least from the scientific literature that I've absorbed, describes how you might become fat adapted. Now, I was very, very fortunate in this regard because before I started fasting, the carbohydrates I did eat, few and far between. Fruit, I don't eat bread, I don't eat rice, I don't eat pasta, I don't eat potatoes. So, my body was always very, very accustomed at, using fat as fuel. Those who typically suffer with fasting usually have carbohydrates with most meals. They get hungry quickly, they're irritable, they've got mood swings, energy crashes, and they struggle to lose weight. It's a very undesirable metabolic state. The energy is dense and dull and stagnant in the body. It's not nice. In a lot of the scientific corpus and anecdotes, you can see that ketogenic carnivore style diets work very, very well with individuals who are also wishing to adopt a fasting practice. They're sharper, more stable, burn fat more effectively, and are generally metabolically efficient in that regard. The spiritual propensity and affinity I experience when my stomach is empty is unparalleled, unprecedented comparatively to when it's full. My prayer is clearer, my meditation is deeper. Every breath satiates my body in a way which is axiomatically better. It is difficult to describe. Words, are a fairly poor tool in order to color that for you, but I'll try my best. I implore you to experience it. It kind of feels like if you're a cup, right? This is you. You're a cup, and the food you're eating every day fills that cup closer to the brim, leaving less space for anything else. And when we keep the cup empty, there is more space for God. The breathing aspect is where I feel this more deeply above any other. Anybody that has practiced pranayama, nadi shodhana, Wim Hof, Kumhaka, Tumo, holotropic style breathings, recognizes there is a bone deep penetration of the divine that cannot be matched if the stomach is full. It's like you have more space. Even the subtle energies in meditation feel more tangibly and palpably felt and manipulated. I feel like I can better recruit the nervous system, the nervous innervations around my heart plexus, around my solar plexus, particularly when the stomach is void. And perhaps that is a consequence of peristalsis and digestion. There is energy required for those muscles to contract around your breakfast, for the endocrine system to start to squeeze and squirt those chemicals to deal with the influx of material. The irony is that kind of 15 minutes to 45 minutes after eating doesn't give you energy, it takes it away. It takes energy to break down your food. It takes energy to digest your food. Energy that could be better recruited to exercise and train the subtle energies in the body, to develop mastery over the electro and magnetic divisions of the body. Why is there, so this is something to meditate on, why is there this curious continuity of fasting across all different religious sects? From Hinduism, Christianity, Jainism, Islam, there exists a path they all know, and they all demonstrate reverence for it. Why? Because it's a path to God. No theories, facts. Speak soon.